And now we're honoured to have our guest Kerttu Tarjamo, who is with the LGBT Issues Unit of the Council of Europe.
Okay. First of all, thank you very much for the invitation. I'm representing the LGBT Issues Unit, where I work as a policy advisor. I'm seconded by the Finnish government there. I've only worked there for 3 months now. And I have to say, Patricia brought up this Eurovision factor that for the first months that I've been there, I feel like working at the Eurovision, always seeing all the flags of the 47 member states and trying to remember that we also have to know the member states in French. And all French I know this so far is Finland 0 point. But anyway, I'm really happy to be here, as my own background is in the Finnish LGBT movement, and I really want to especially thank all those young people who have been telling and activists about their stories. And I really think that it's so important that people who work at different international organizations and representatives of governments hear your stories. It's so important that they get to hear experiences and the wonderful work that you are doing, that it really makes a difference, and you need their support. I want to start by telling a bit about the different tools that we have at the Council of Europe on LGBT, and then tell a bit about some concrete things that we do. First of all, I work at the LGBT Issues Unit, and it's a unit that can work because we have about 5 or 6 donor countries. So our work is based on voluntary contributions of a number of countries. And it's not yet in the regular budget, but we'll see if in the future that happens. The basis for the work that we do is the Committee of Ministers recommendation 2010/5 on recommendation to member states on combating discrimination on grounds of sexual orientation and gender identity. The recommendation is the first legal instrument on the human rights of lesbians, gays, bisexual and transgender persons. It's not legally binding like the European Convention of Human Rights, but it has great significance because it was decided upon by the Committee of Ministers, which is the decision-making body of the Council of Europe. The recommendation with its detailed appendix provides a comprehensive framework for addressing discrimination based on sexual orientation and gender identity. The appendix and the explanatory memorandum of the recommendation give a more detailed explanation what kind of measures the recommendation implies and cover themes such as freedom to life, security and protection from violence, freedom of association and of expression, education and health. Of the provisions mentioned, education and housing deal directly also with issues regarding youth. There are a few less explicit points included under the theme of health. When it comes to education, the first point is that the right to education should be enjoyed without discrimination based on sexual orientation and gender identity, and member states should take appropriate legislative and other measures to ensure this. Measures should be addressed to educational staff and students. The member states must safeguard the right of children and youth to education in a safe environment, free from violence, bullying, social exclusion, or other forms of discriminatory and degrading treatment related to sexual orientation and gender identity. The second point means that member states should take appropriate measures for the promotion of mutual tolerance and respect in schools regardless of sexual orientation and gender identity at all levels. Following measures should be included: providing objective information on sexual orientation and gender identity, for example, in the school curricula and educational materials, and providing pupils and students with the necessary information, protection and support to enable them to live in accordance with their sexual orientation and gender identity. This could mean that school equality and safety policies and action plans could be designed and implemented. Member states could also make available anti-discrimination training and teaching aids. Then, when it comes to housing, the recommendation says that there is a particular risk of homelessness that LGBT persons face, including young persons and children who may be particularly vulnerable to social exclusion, including from their own families. Member states are guided to establish social programs, including support programs which address sexual orientation and gender identity-related factors that increase the risk of homelessness of especially children and young LGBT persons. There was a review of the recommendation, about the implementation of the recommendation in member states that was conducted in the winter. And in the review report, it shows clearly that the member states have still a lot to do on education. So I'm sure this is a topic that will come up in the future. Just about the review of the recommendation, 39 states of the Council of Europe answered to the questionnaire, which is quite a high number. And at least what it takes, the answers of the member states are very different to the questionnaire. But what it means is that at least 39 member states, they recognize that there are LGBT people and that there are human rights that they have. And it's a tool for the Council of Europe for the future work. If you're interested in seeing what your governments answered, all the answers are public on the Council of Europe websites. Another document at the Council of Europe that guides work regarding LGBT children, is the Strategy for the Rights of the Child. Thank you. And that's, of course, it explicitly recognizes the guaranteeing the rights of children in vulnerable situations. Now, I want to just quickly tell you about a campaign that's going on in the youth sector of the Council of Europe. It's called the No Hate Speech Movement. And there's more stuff at the table with information on it. But it's a campaign by youth about hate speech online. And it's a wrong page. It's a campaign set up by young people in the Council of Europe to fight this and to claim everyone's right to safe online. Hate speech is not free, and it has cost for human rights and a cost in human lives. And what is important in the campaign, that it really goes to the internet and emphasizes the importance that internet is an important public forum, and we need to also maintain human rights on the net as well. The campaign includes, for example, a campaign platform where people can join the movement, and they can also report about hate speech that they recognize, and actually belong to, is now one of the partners of the movement. So which is really a great thing. I really feel stupid telling about an online campaign without showing you anything online, but please go see www.nohatespeechmovement.org, and you'll find more information about that. Anyway, I thank you for your attention, and I think we probably are promised some lunch now. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very, very much, Kerttu, and all of the panelists. We are so excited about all of the incredible speakers who have come and spoken this morning and will be speaking later on. And it's just because so many people said yes to our invitation that our time for each person is short, and we really apologize for squeezing everyone in, but we're excited to have you all here.